From budget troubles to safety concerns, CTA passengers sounded off at a town hall tonight. Our Jermont Terry is live with the problems the CTA is facing if funding does not come from Springfield. Jermont.
Erica, CTA says it's preparing for two budget scenarios, one with money it needs to keep services going, the other with a huge budget deficit. And if that money doesn't come in, not only will passengers see cuts in services, CTA says they could stop running at 9 p.m. nightly. With 1 million people riding the CTA by rail or buses daily, there's no doubt it is essential to Chicagoans.
I recently moved to Chicago, and one of the reasons was transit.
Will Filner is one of a dozens who packed Truman College to hear what CTA leaders are bracing for.
And a lot of the jobs that I'm applying to are not near me, so I take the L most of the time just to get to job interviews.
But services he depends on and more than 310 miles of CTA networks are on the verge of getting slashed if state dollars don't come in.
Illinois is dead last when it comes to funding transportation.
CTA warned those in this crowd the one-time COVID dollars are going away, and its funding gap is projected to get bigger each year starting in 2026. Adding operating hours would get cut drastically.
And if we are forced to cut hours, our service may start at 6 in the morning and end at 9 p.m.
Fewer routes and restricted hours leave many worried.
My concerns are very much, the fare going up or either cutting some lines, some buses or anything like that that I usually take.
Carlos Barrentos rides CTA both day and night. He showed up to hear CTA address safety too.
No, I don't feel safe. I'll be honest with you.
This is embarrassing, bro. Honestly, this is genuinely embarrassing, and the leaders in Chicago continue to show their ass. And I'm staying on top of it because I've been on top of it for years now. But I predicted that this whole city would implode, and it is, one by one, while the mayor continues to fight against the federal government while at the same time mismanaging the city itself. And now we have a situation where passengers they're not even going to be able to get to work. You're not going to be able to get to school. You can't use public transportation past a certain time. Not only do they have funding problems, but it's going to get exponentially worse. You got the schools underfunded by $734 million. Budget deficit for the city at $1.15 billion. The CTA is underfunded by over $700 million, and they're fighting against Trump. And not only that, the feds is looking to pull more funding, and they fighting against illegal migrants into the city while they funded the migrant crisis by hundreds of millions of dollars. The city is an embarrassment because the leaders and the aldermen and the governor of Illinois, and not only that, the people voted for this type of thing to go in there, and this has been happening for years and decades. Brandon Johnson is he's the cherry on top, right? He's the geography teacher that y'all brought in because of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and because he looks like y'all, and maybe even because he wore a mohawk. And while the bus services is now, because listen, not only do you have the governor taking pictures with peacekeepers who's making money from the federal government and from the state to say that they underreport crime, while at the same time he's doing smash and grabs, and then they tried to scrub that from the website. Not only do you have that type of thing happening, right? And them trying to finesse and can't manage a budget, especially a pre-COVID budget. Not only do you have this mess that is taking place across the board, you have a mayor that continues to rail against the federal government every single opportunity he gets, while at the same time begging. And Trump told them, he said, listen, all y'all got to do is work with us. Let's stop the crime. Let's get the illegal migrants out. Let's do the thing that's best for the city and all of that. And instead of them learning how to work with people that would be best for the city, they continue to fight against it while drowning and plummeting towards bankruptcy, which they are going to, at some point, file for bankruptcy. I predict this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You got businesses leaving at a rate that we haven't seen in a long time. You know, it's a report, and I'm going to cover it on the Millionaire Morning Show today. It's a report that Millionaires and billionaires are fleeing New York City at a historic rate, especially considering what's happening with the mayoral race with Mark Donnie, right? And what they not talking about is that all of the millionaires that is in Chicago is also packing up because they already see the writing on the wall and they trying to get out while they still got their shirt. And so it is unfortunate because, you know, the ones that's going to suffer the most as a result of it, people like him, the people.
His concerns are heightened after Chicago police issued this community alert about a man who attacked two riders on the bus on the west side. And it comes after a 51-year-old CTA worker was pushed onto the tracks over Dearborn Street in the Loop on Tuesday. As CTA advocates for money, the acting president insisting security is just as high, touting the new CPD CTA Support Center.
And this has access to CTA cameras, it's staffed with police, with detectives, and it creates a really heightened awareness and observation from the police.
Now, as CTA calls on state funding for the fall session, CTA passengers, they want to feel safe now and not worry about the potential cuts that could come if the money doesn't come in.
Don't worry about it. Y'all gonna find out. You're gonna find out. Shout out to all of the blue cities, but then at the same time, the feds is the transportation secretary. The feds is looking to pull funding on top of the fact that they having budget woes.
The U.S. Transportation Secretary is calling out the CTA today, demanding immediate action to keep workers and riders safe.
He points to a report by our investigator, Tara Molina, about violence on the CTA. She's live for us now outside CTA headquarters. And Tara, you spoke with a top federal transit administrator today. What did they tell you?
That's right, Marie and Erica. He says it's time to address the safety concerns and security concerns plaguing our transit system and the violent crimes that we've reported on here recently. No one from the CTA was available to go on camera to address this with us today. You're looking at the letter the Secretary of Transportation sent the acting president of the Chicago Transit Authority, calling for the agency to address safety immediately. This release from the U.S. Department of Transportation citing my recent reporting.
It's a continuing cycle.
The 70-year-old CTA worker attacked and thrown on the tracks last month. We just told you about 2 more workers attacked in the last week.
You're reporting critical to really shining a light.
Mark Molinaro is the federal transit administrator.
Chicago, as it relates to public safety, the Chicago system is failing. 1 in 5 Chicago citizens feel that using public transit isn't safe.
He says their team has tracked a 10-year increase in crime on transit systems, including ours. So we took a look ourselves. And while we've seen a decline in violent crime since it peaked in 2019, there's been a steady increase since 2015. Molinaro telling me that letter we showed you earlier, it gives the CTA 2 weeks to get the Federal Transit Administration, quote, CTA actions and plans to reduce crime and fare evasion on the transit system, and CTA funds from all sources that are programmed to improve the security of passengers and workers. Going on to say federal funding could be redirected or withheld if prompt attention isn't given. And when my colleague asked Mayor Brandon Johnson if he had a response to this letter today,
no, I do not.
They've got 2 weeks to explain.
Oh my God, this guy has no solutions whatsoever. He hasn't a clue of what to do and how to do it and how to go about fixing situations at all. He hasn't a clue, not one clue whatsoever on what to do.
Explain to us how they are spending federal dollars as it relates to public safety, but also what steps they will take to augment public safety on transit in Chicago.
a CTA spokesperson told me they've reviewed the letter they've been sent and they will respond to the federal government in the requested timeline. Reporting live outside.
This is sad, bro. Honestly, it's genuinely sad. It's super sad that y'all have come to the point to where y'all as citizens in Chicago and us observing nationwide and taxpayers, we watching the implosion of this city. right before our eyes, and it's nothing that we actually can do about it. Or maybe they just don't want to fix it. Maybe they looking to do bankruptcy so that they can have investors and developers come in and swoop it up at a cheap price so that they can then change the city into what they want it to be. I don't know, but let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Again, I'm gonna cover this more in depth on the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Love you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna holler at you guys later. Peace.